assessment criteria 3.3, so that's explain possible barriers to learning for a horse, so from the environment.
First of all, we talked about the weather and the impact the weather can have on the horse's behaviour, particularly wind and rain, because windy will fire them up anyway, and the rain might just make them not want to be where we are if you're outside. Yeah, and equally if it's very bright and hot, that can affect their behaviour and their reactions to the environment.
Yep. We talked about other horses, proximity of them, whether there's too many, whether there's new horses, or whether there's no horses and they're more prone to being panicky on their own.
We talked about the distraction of food, if it's in their environment, whether that will make them behave differently to each other, to learners, to us. If they are hungry and they want to get to it, or if they're being overfed or what have you, it might change in their behaviour, but that's not environment.
And perceived threats in the environment, so unexpected noise, chaos, things like dogs being around, things like anything that could potentially scare a horse coming and going around where you are with that animal. Plastic bags, that kind of thing.
Umbrellas.
Eggs.
Such things. Possibly overwhelmed by human presence. If there's too many of us in their space, it might be a barrier to what they can react to and comprehend.
I'm trying to think what else we've got. I've got terrain, so where they are, what's underfoot, how much they're having to concentrate on where they're putting their feet and whether they're safe where they are, whether they're going to slip over, whether there's potential hazards around where they're walking or moving.
Okay, what about for the horse itself then?
So we had, if they were feeling fearful or had anxiety due to the environment, prior experiences that they might have had, whether they were hungry or thirsty. So there's massive crossover, obviously, with the environment. If they were in pain, if they felt too hot or too cold, or they had been separated from their herd, and how old they were, so their general state of health and ability to focus.
And something like injury, for example, so Megan not being able to see out of one eye, that changes the way that she behaves and sort of changes the way that you might present things to her. Okay, what about the handler then? What sorts of barriers to learning might there be from the handler?
We've got from the handlers that actually their own lack of knowledge and having an appreciation of the horse and how it reacts of its behaviour. So actually you know when to put the pressure on, you know when to release the pressure without overstepping the mark of that constant pressure when it's actually not necessary.
And the body language and the energy and the intent from the trainer. You know, if they use an aggressive tone or, you know, a louder voice, that could, you know, impact on the horse.
So communicating clearly the idea, so the horse has an understanding of what is being asked for it. So it needs to be a very positive communicating as opposed to so that softly touch maybe where actually that's not appropriate at all for the understanding of the horse.
And as we talked about earlier, the known preconceptions of the horse, if the handler's got a preconception of that animal and what he thinks it might do, he will treat it differently. He will
Which is what we had this afternoon, really, wasn't it? Was completely what we saw. Yeah, those personal reactions. So I think that was about all that we had.
I think speed can be a barrier for the horse as well. So if you've got a handler that wants to go too fast, goes too far, starts at the wrong place, starts too far down. You know, just thinking about the experience that we had this afternoon with the rug, you know, we could have forced that horse to have its rug on or off. So we're trying to work in horse time. And I think with the learners, we need to start working in learner time rather than in school time or funding provider time or parental time or teacher time or whatever other human time we want to put onto things. And I think that's really important as far as the horses are concerned. You know, we go as fast as the horse can go, and if you go at the horse's pace, you tend to go faster. And recognising that different handlers will have different effects on different horses. So we could all handle one of the horses, but actually our ability, our experience, our personal filters will, and our levels of energy will all impact on that horse in a different way. So I might work with a horse and it might do one thing for me, but it might not necessarily do the same thing for you because you're different.